Hello everybody and welcome to TTS Episode 1. Now, what is TTS, you might be wondering? Obviously, I have already created a video on this channel already, the Daniel Jones video. If you have not checked that out, link to that will be in the description. But for TTS in general, this is going to be a lot more of a podcast, talk show type style, where it's just going to be one-on-one with me, talking about some ongoing stuff going on in the sports world, what's really interesting to me and whatnot. Going to be a lot of like NBA, NFL stuff, probably some MLB. Going to get some NHL in there too when I get the chance. But it's going to be a lot less editing and a lot lighter of a video than the Daniel Jones one was. I still want to keep making content like that. It just takes a lot of time, and especially with the college lifestyle that I'm currently going through. You know, I think you all get it. Now, for TTS Episode 1, it's going to be pretty light, couple of small topics today. First one, obviously, in the NFL, we have the upcoming Super Bowl. The Philadelphia Eagles are looking to seek redemption, while the Chiefs are seeking infamy. This game is going to be a crazy game. And while I will say, obviously, this was the Super Bowl that no one wanted, like no one wanted the Super Bowl, I still really do think there are some great narratives and great storylines that are in play here. For starters, Chiefs obviously looking to seek becoming the only NFL team in NFL history to actually successfully three-peat. Well, the Eagles are going to be trying everything in their power to stop that, but they also obviously want to avenge the heartbreaking and controversial, which, let's be honest, a lot of Chiefs games have become, loss in the Super Bowl that will not even be 2 full calendar years away by the time they get to play on Sunday, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. I think that top to bottom, the Eagles here are the better team, that the roster is just built a little bit better. However, the Chiefs, still, it's such a cliche narrative, but you have to give it to Mahomes as being the best player and the most trusted player on that field. However, the Eagles have significantly narrowed that gap since the last Super Bowl that they attended, with having Saquon Barkley on the field now. My prediction for this game is that the Eagles are going to win a barn burner 42-38, with both teams' defenses just eventually getting gassed and not being able to stop each other's offenses. It's either going to be that, though, or it's going to be a really defensive, like 17-14 style stalemate. And if that were to happen, I fear that favors a lot more in the Chiefs' favor. And if that is the case, they're going to become one of the most infamous and most hated NFL franchises, and that goddamn term Bunglarooski is going to live in my head and haunt my dreams for the rest of my life. Alright, and our second topic for the day, like I said, we're only really doing these 2 topics with the Super Bowl and this one here. It's going to be a very light one today. Did not want to go too crazy, but the NBA is getting towards trade season, and it has already delivered. I mean, most people already know probably one of the craziest blockbuster trades in NBA history occurred recently, and it just occurred out of nowhere. Just like, at least most of the time with these star players getting traded, like, you have some warning, like you're expecting it to happen. No one and their mother knew that Luka was going to get traded. Not even Luka knew. Like, it still is, to me, one of the craziest trades ever. And probably the craziest trade that I've seen occur in my lifetime, in my consciousness, because it was just so out of nowhere and really groundbreaking. I mean, it's just crazy. Like, I still don't get it. But we're going to look into the trade details here, and I'm just going to talk about what it means for each team, and then we're going to move on because there was one other trade that was also very important. It's just, this one is nuts. So the Lakers get Luka Doncic, obviously. They get Maxi Kleber, and then they get Markieff Morris. It's kind of funny when you think about it. Now LeBron James and Markieff Morris are the only 2 remaining players from the 2020 championship team for the Lakers, which is kind of the craziest stat, or craziest fact I found. Kind of did not make sense to me, but I guess so. And then the Mavericks now, they received Anthony Davis, obviously, Max Christie, and then a 2029 Los Angeles Lakers first round pick. That's it. That's all they got for their 25-year-old franchise superstar. And then the Jazz, who somehow snuck their way into this trade, received Jalen Hood-Schifino, a 2025 Los Angeles Clippers second round pick, and a 2025 Mavericks second round pick. Now for LA, I think what this means is that they were trying to, I think they thought that their window with Anthony Davis and LeBron James have closed, that championship window, and it kind of looked like it. It looked like that team just did not have enough firepower to compete in the West, and I still don't think they do right now. However, they can still just be competitive right now and entertain their fans, but now they can also provide their fans a guarantee of a future. That's the biggest thing for them. LA needed that future. They couldn't guarantee Davis to be that future. They needed someone else, and now they have a 25-year-old generational superstar. He has made 5 all NBA first teams already as a 25-year-old. That is crazy. Like, I don't even think Nikola Jokic has that many first team all NBA for like first team all NBA teams. Like, that's crazy. Is that not crazy? I still don't get why Dallas did this. Like, we're moving on to what Dallas did and what this means for Dallas, but even like, first of all though, like, even if Doncic would not be interested in re-signing with LA, the Lakers would still have the freedom to trade him again for probably a ransom and probably get a lot more first round picks if they want to go that route, or they can get another superstar. So it was a really good, smart deal for LA, I feel like. For Dallas, general manager Nico Harrison, at least for a little while, is now the most hated general manager in Dallas sports. But I'm waiting to see what Jerry Jones is going to be cooking up, because it's going to be baffling. Even if Anthony Davis were to stay healthy for the full NBA season, I believe that at best this was a parallel step for the franchise. But in all likelihood, this is going to be the trade that we will look back on in 5 years and say, this is the reason the Mavericks just slowly fell apart. I just don't see how trading your generational 25-year-old for just one first-round pick and a rather injury-prone 31-year-old who turns 32 next month, like, I just don't see the logic, don't see the reasoning. There's been a lot of reports coming out. It just all seems like bogus to me. It's very, very confusing. And as I already mentioned earlier, the Jazz kind of just snuck their way into this trade, and at first not a lot of people knew what the Jazz even did to get involved in this. And what they actually did was provide $55,000 to both franchises to actually let this trade happen. And then also taking on Jalen Hood-Schifino takes on a little bit extra money that the Lakers needed to get off their books. So pretty much the Jazz did very little and got a young guy that could potentially turn out to something, probably won't, but doesn't matter, and then you get 2 second-round picks for it. So I think the Jazz, I found it funny how they just kind of snuck in there, but they got a pretty good return for the very little that they gave. So, in all, obviously, as you can tell, I am still just so baffled by Dallas's decision here. But, you know, I guess there are numbers to it that I will just never understand, maybe. Okay, so now that I just finished blowing up because Nico Harrison is like one of the dumbest people that I've ever heard of, it's time to move on to the second trade we had. Because like I said, there were 2 big trades. The Luka Doncic one was just the one that was a little bit bigger, to say the least. And also it was more unexpected, as this one was definitely, the writing was on the wall. So De'Aaron Fox was traded to the Spurs. The full trade details were the Spurs received Fox and Jordan McLaughlin, while the Kings received Zach LaVine, Sidi Sissoko, and 3 first-round picks, a 2025 from Charlotte, a 2027 from San Antonio, and a 2031 from Minnesota. And also, they received 3 second-round picks, a 2025 from Chicago, 2028 from Denver, and their own 2028 pick back. And then the Bulls, lastly, received Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter, and their own 2025 pick via San Antonio. So what this means for the Spurs is that Victor Wembanyama now potentially has his long-term running mate for the next 7 to 8 seasons. Fox is a incredibly athletic, smart, two-way point guard who should fit in perfectly alongside Wembanyama. I saw an Instagram page compare this trade to the Pau Gasol to the Lakers trade that occurred back in 2008 that allowed Kobe Bryant to compete for his last string of championships, and I found that to be a very good, interesting comparison. And I also would like to note that this really does show that San Antonio with Wembanyama has become a lot more of an attractive destination for free agents and trade pieces, because they want to play alongside someone who has the chance to be generational, to take them to a championship, and that is what Wembanyama is. For Sacramento, as I said already, their hand was pretty much forced into taking this trade, into committing a trade. And with all that being said, they did really good, in my opinion, for the return. I mean, Zach LaVine is currently having a career best season in his 11th year in the NBA. He's currently averaging 24 points per game on an almost crazy 61% effective field goal rate. And for those who don't know, that's a stat that takes into account the fact that a 3-point field goal is worth more than a 2-pointer. While injury concerns will always be the issue and the biggest primary concern for LaVine, he is still only 29. So there is a very, very high chance that he can continue playing at this hyper-efficient rate for a couple more seasons. And on top of that, they got a really good bit of draft capital to support the future. Take note, Dallas. All in all, not a bad trade for them. And lastly, as per usual, the Chicago Bulls participated in the trade and got fleeced. I mean, the 3 players they got back in return all weren't that notable in my opinion. If anything, I think Herter might be the most notable. Getting their own pick back is very good though, because now they can commit to tanking for the rest of the season and getting a hopefully high draft pick in what is looking to be a pretty stacked draft class. But all in all, with their most attractive trade piece, they did not get a lot of good return in my opinion. But I feel like that's been a typical case for the Bulls for now years. So, who knows? I can't say much because I'm not a general manager. All in all though, that is all I got for today. Like I said, was going to be a little bit of a lighter episode. Just wanted to catch up on some of those trades and talk about the upcoming Super Bowl. Always going to be rooting for the Eagles. Might be a little biased there, but you know, hoping that they would take it. I think a lot of people are, because they are just getting sick of Taylor Swift, Bud Livrewski, Travis Kelce, and Patrick Mahomes. It is getting a little bit too much, but I can't say much. Have a great day, everyone, and I hope to see you back next time. Have a good one.